Well, good morning, everybody. It's Sunday morning. You look over my shoulder, you see some snow falling. This is just an appetizer, a little bit of light snow today, maybe a half an inch, quarter inch, whatever. Then it's going to stop, and tomorrow's supposed to be a fairly nice day. But this is the appetizer for Tuesday. We're supposed to get a pretty good winter storm on Tuesday to the tune of maybe 5 to 10 inches. So that'll be upcoming. But there's other things I'm going to need to talk to you about. Didn't even get a shower yet. The wife has a load of laundry in, so I got to wait till that's done. And I'm going to jump in the shower and go get us our coffee and breakfast sandwiches, and then do a little bit of other stuff during the day. And we'll try to talk to you as we go along and some new developments. But like a high school kid who has a report due Monday morning for school, I procrastinated. I had 4 days since Thanksgiving that I could have done this video, but here I am waiting until Sunday to do it. But as you can see, we got a little bit more snow since I got my shower. Probably got a quarter, half-inch coating on the grassy surfaces and out front on the vehicles. But sidewalk and streets are just wet because the temperature is marginal. It's 32, 33 degrees out, so it's only sticking to the coldest of surfaces. But once the wife is done loading up the washer with her second load, then we'll order up our Dunkin' coffee and breakfast, and I'll go pick it up, come back, have that. And then I still have some errands to run today. I wanted to do the grocery shopping yesterday before the weather hit, but I missed a few items that she had wanted me to get, so I got to go back out and get those. But I don't mind so much. It is what it is. If I could have got them yesterday, it would have been better, and I wouldn't have had to go anywhere other than for the coffee this morning. But we'll go out, we'll do that, and I'll try to talk to you a little bit because I am better at talking when I'm driving than I am doing these talking head shots. But got to do what we got to do. So, like I told you in the intro clip, got some things to talk to you about throughout the course of the day and before we go back to work tomorrow morning. Alright, so like I told you guys, I had to run up to the store to pick up a few items that I had forgotten to get yesterday. And my daughter called. I got to pick something up for my granddaughter. I have to look at my phone at what it's called, but she sent me a picture of what I got to pick up. It's some kind of thing that you melt into certain kind of designs, but I guess they melted it just a little bit too far, and now it's not working properly, so she wants me to pick up a new one so that the kids can make stuff this afternoon. My granddaughter has a couple friends over, and since it's kind of bleak and dreary and cold out, they're going to be inside all day, so she tried to keep them busy, so asked me if I would pick up this item for them, which I'll tell you about, I guess, once I look at the picture and figure out what it is that I need to get. So, but we're headed up to the store, and yeah, it's definitely just another cloudy, dreary day because we had that snow this morning, which has stopped, but hasn't cleared off yet. So there is still some residual that hasn't melted off yet. Temperature's probably about 35 degrees out, so once it stops snowing, it starts melting. But there's still some snow on the ground. I guess that didn't stick to the roads or anything. It was just a white rain as far as the roads were concerned, but it did stick on the grass and vehicles and stuff. I took the Jeep out to get the Dunkin' Donuts this morning, so melted off the Jeep. Yeah, very dark out. Gray, overcast. Like I told you in one of my previous videos, winters around here are probably about 70% overcast and about 30% partly sunny to mostly sunny. Alright, I don't have my microphones with me, but this was one of the things that she wanted, these ultimate mighty beads. I guess you heat them up and they fuse together. So that's one thing that she wanted. I think the green thing is probably what she kind of melted, so it wasn't going to work properly. So I'm going to pick a new one up for them. And then she said about this thing. Woodland creatures, I guess, use the same system to create these animal faces. So something I guess little girls like doing. So we're gonna pick them up for them. So the shopping at Walmart is done. I did not take the camera in with me and put it on my little magnet chest pendant because I have a pretty heavy winter coat on, as you can see. And the last time I tried it, the coat got in the way of the lens just because of how thick it was. So we didn't do anything in the store other than what I showed you I was picking up for my granddaughter. So, with that being said, I mentioned in the last video that there'd be an announcement and a surprise coming. And so here it is, for better or for worse. And some of you might understand and agree. I'm sure some of you aren't going to understand and agree. And some of you may make comments. But last Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, was my last day with the previous carrier, and there's a reason for that. I was not happy there at all with the way they were running me, and I should have saw a red flag right in the initial hiring process after I had filled out my application online, and they quickly called me to talk to me and do like a little phone interview, and then they ran all the background checks and employment verifications and all that. And then about a week and a half later, I got a phone call back, and I had applied for a straight up local position. So and when they called me back to make me a job offer, they're like, "So, you still interested in the yard jockey position?" I'm like, "Excuse me?" "Oh yeah, the yard jockey position that's available." I was like, "No. When I talked to you before, I told you I wanted local. That's what I applied for." "Oh, well, we don't have any openings on that." I was like, "Well, I don't want to be a yard jockey." I said, "I had no desire to be a yard jockey. I did it previously for a while out in Arizona." I said I did not like it, and I don't want that. So, unfortunately, I'm going to pass. "Okay," and then we hung up. Well, it wasn't but about 10 minutes later, I get a phone call back from the recruiter. "No, I talked to my operations manager and we can bring you on." "Oh, okay." He mentioned that it would be local. Local to me is picking up freight and going anywhere from, anywhere within a 200-mile radius of your home domicile is, to me, considered local. So what I expected it to be was that I would run in that 200-mile radius, and each day I'd probably go somewhere else different. And if it was a shorter run, then maybe I'd have a second one, and if it was a longer run, I'd do one and done. Take a load out, get a back haul, come back in. Well, it didn't work out that way. Basically, I was a shuttle driver, which I have mentioned to you that, and I showed you the Oliphant Pittston shuttles that were only 20 miles from origin to delivery, and the Nanticoke shuttles, which were about 28 miles from origin to delivery. In between that, I would get once in a while a longer run, which we've determined, and through talking with other drivers, basically when I would get one of those, I was filling in for somebody that was off for a doctor's appointment or a vacation day or had called in sick. Otherwise, I was going to be a shuttle driver, and interspersed in that was what I just showed you prior to me talking here, which was being a jockey in that facility just north of Tamaqua. And by yard jockey in there, that's not running a backyard jockey truck with a hydraulic fifth wheel, and that's designed to be a jockey truck. It was being a jockey and a road tractor, which meant climbing up and down, doing full hookups and everything else, and moving like 30 trailers a day. So they basically backdoored me into a jockey slash shuttle position. When we were in orientation, they asked me how I wanted to run, and I had told them, about doing the 200-mile radius out and backs and all that kind of stuff. And oh yeah. I said, well, where do you run to? Oh, we go down to Virginia, down to Jersey, Delaware, up New York, blah 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 blah. Cool. This is just what I'm looking for. Well, what I got was anything but what I was looking for. So over time, I just kept getting more and more frustrated with the lack of seat time I was getting, as opposed to, like I said, jockeying and shuttling 3, 4, 5 loads a day back and forth to the same customer. And then we started having problems with paperwork, where bill of ladings weren't put in the trailers after they were loaded at the warehouse. And a couple instances, one where they had switched trailers but never told anybody about it, so I hooked up, pulled it out, and it was the wrong trailer, and it took a while to figure out which one was the right trailer. And then just last week, Wednesday morning, my last day, I was supposed to do those what was it? Yeah, it was no, where was I going? Oh my god, I can't even think where I was going now. But the load wasn't even in the trailer. I pulled out the trailer number I was assigned to and went to first of all, there was no bills in the bill box up on the nose of the trailer, and I pulled it out to close the doors, and there was no load in the trailer. So I had to call night dispatch, found out that was a to be loaded trailer. They were going to load it the following day, not the night before. Luckily, we had found another one that was going, and I told them, I said, if it's not assigned to anybody, I'll take it. I said, but if it's assigned to somebody, then I can't believe this guy in front of me passed me on the right and made his left turn where I was going to make a left turn, or passed me on the left. I can't believe, man, now I'm lost for words. He came up on my left side, not my right side. He came up on my left side and passed me and turned right where I was planning on turning. So anyway, what I was saying was that if the load was assigned to another driver, I was just going to clean out the truck that morning and go home, since it was my last day anyway. But it turned out it wasn't. So then I told the night dispatcher to put it on me and I'll take it, and then I'll work my final day as I promised. Because I was going to hold up my end of the bargain, and when they dropped the ball on not loading the trailer I was supposed to take, I felt like they weren't living up to their end of the bargain. So, but anyway, so I worked a full day on Wednesday. That was my last day. Now, this week, I am going to be going back to my old employer, because one of the day shift guys is retiring and going back to, he's only going to work 2 days a week. He's going to go part-time. So he's retiring, and then he's going to go part-time. And so I'm going to get his shift. So I'm going to start at 9 a.m., probably work till between 6 and 9 p.m., which is a good day shift job. I mean, yeah, it'll bleed over into the evening, but that's still just an absolute, almost perfect shift. I won't even have to set an alarm clock, because I'll get up when the wife gets up, and I'll be able to have a couple cups of coffee, get ready, make sure she gets off to work okay, and then I'll head off to work. So... But, yeah, when he called me, or he messaged me and told me to call him. And so then the next morning I called him and made that offer to me that he had a day shift position opening up because somebody was retiring. I jumped all over it because I was not happy where I was. So we're going to be in a Mack Anthem just like we were driving. However, it's just going to be a different color.
But I am pretty well stoked because I never wanted to leave that job in the first place. I like that job. And no complaints. A great boss, a great company, good runs, you know, a little repetitious. Sometimes it gets boring, but I know that going in, and I knew that going in, and even though sometimes I made mention of it because it made it harder to do videos, it was still a darn good job. You always knew where you were going, you knew what you were doing. You got your 3 to 4 loads a day. When you were done, you went home. There was no calling in the dispatch to find out what's next. There was no what's next. You had a schedule, you did them, and you went home. So very low-keyed, low-stress job. No computer work, no driver-facing cameras like this company had. So it's a win-win situation. I ended up getting my day shift and going back to a good company. So like I said, some of you aren't gonna agree with it, and some of you will, but it is what it is. I'm gonna still keep trying to do videos for you when I can. Hope that y'all continue to watch them and comment on them, and hopefully I'll gain some new subscribers along the way. And I'm getting a little long-winded here, so I'm starting to get a little hoarse, plus I'm kind of at my daughter's house, so I'm gonna take the stuff in for my granddaughter and see them for a little bit. So we'll talk to you later.